Last week, I talked about sports and how I recorded this famous moment of this guy becoming number 2 all time in NCAA scoring and how I'm working in TV and sports and yada yada yada. This week, not that much different, but not totally the same. My lovely mother was in town for the weekend, and she was in town not only because her work brought her down closer to Indy, but also because she loves her sons and wanted to see me work because I happen to work a somewhat non-traditional job. Also, when I was growing up, she watched me see play all my sports, so I'm now working in sports, and working is kind of like playing sports now, so vice versa, she saw me play sports now and wants to see me work now. You see what I'm saying? But she chose a very good weekend to come and visit, and although the earlier half of my week was kind of ass, I was feeling really down in the dumps, honestly just genuinely depressed. It was not a good time. My mom showed up at the absolute best time. I was just not feeling great. I had a car flare up. That's never good. But she got here on Friday, and I worked a high school basketball game that I was pretty excited about on Friday. It featured Miles Colvin of Heritage Christian, who's going to Purdue next year, the current #1 team in the country. The game didn't go, or the broadcast didn't really go all that smoothly. It was supposed to be in the studio, so like remote from where the game was happening actually. But when I got there, the internet was down, so I had to run over to the high school and build all this stuff real fast and get the broadcast on air very quickly. I ended up getting it done and actually delivered a pretty solid broadcast, so I'll take that. And also, Miles Colvin did high school standout things, had a cool alley-oop, had some big blocks, maybe another dunk or two. Although I'll admit, pretty underwhelming, scored most of his points when the game was already over, kind of a bum, but we'll see. He's going to Purdue after all, whoop-de-doo. So she got to see me do that, and she got to go to that high school basketball game, which I think was a pretty exciting high school basketball game to go to. But then on Friday, I worked the Butler men's game, and my mom got to follow me to that. And I worked a camera under the basket, as I do, and she got to go to the game and kind of see me work, although she had to leave halfway through the second half. That's fine. While I was at the game, not only was my beloved mother there, but a very familiar and famous face happened to be there. Theo Von, man. He was there at the game. I was sitting there in my chair shortly after tip-off when I looked to my left, and I was like, whoa, that's a unique looking face. I know that face. And then a split second, I was like, holy shit, that's Theo Von. Theo Von is at a Butler basketball game. Why the hell is Theo Von here? What is he doing in Indianapolis? Well, he was performing at Butler. Surprise, surprise. Really caught me off guard, but I felt just like, as soon as I saw Theo, I cheered up, I perked up, and I was just really kind of dumbfounded the fact that he was there. I wanted to get a picture with him. I had a chance at halftime. I kind of fumbled the bag. I was too nervous to run away from my camera to go over there and take a picture with him. I should have done it. Kind of a big L there, but I was lucky enough to be the cameraman who filmed him for the Jumbotron. You know when they say, Hinkle Fieldhouse welcomes comedian Theo Von. I was the guy shooting that shot. That felt cool. And I actually said over the headset, I would be honored to get that shot. And I emphasized it just to make sure I could hopefully do my best to get that shot. And I was able to walk over there, wave at Theo, get his attention, get him to look at me, and then film him for the Jumbotron. So if I ever happen to bump into Theo Von again, I can say, hey, remember when you were at the Butler game? I was the cameraman that shot you for the Jumbotron. I know it's not really a big deal, but it's different than saying, hey, I went to your show that one time. I shot him for the Jumbotron, something that he may kind of remember more than just another fan at a show. But speaking of shows, I had a broadcast then the next day, another Butler broadcast. It was men's on Saturday, women's on Sunday. And the women's game was a bit more dramatic. The director of broadcasting for the Big East was there, and he's the head honcho in the Big East. He oversees all of the setup for the broadcast. And we're a student-run broadcast. We're not quite professional, so we have a sort of a unique setup, and it's just a little bit different than everything else, so a lot more variables. Things could go wrong. The product could be a little bit different. But we're good at what we do. And Scott was there, so we knew we had to step up the challenge, had to get there extra early, get all the cameras set up and everything, and I was the one directing. It's my professor, we got another engineer, and then it's me. And we're kind of like the three heads of the program a little bit, if you would. I feel like I'm kind of like a student liaison kind of dealio, somewhere in the middle. But I was directing, and my friend Ethan was producing. We had to direct the traffic, we had to do all the things, we had to make sure we got everything solid, got all of our cameras. We had some audio troubles shortly before the show, but we kind of got them sorted out, and ultimately we delivered a beautiful, crisp, smooth broadcast. If you were a fan at home, you would not have known a difference. You would not have known we had any troubles. It went over so smoothly. Scott was there. He gave us good advice. What he ended up saying to us after the game was, you guys delivered a good show. I heard it. The audio sounded good. It looked good. You made right cuts. You had good storylines. The only thing that's really holding you back is your equipment. So overall, that's kind of the best advice we possibly could have gotten. We delivered a good, high-quality broadcast. He liked it. It sounded good. And the only thing holding us back is our equipment. And he said he's getting the ball rolling to get us new equipment and maybe get us a whole control room and a whole new setup in the future. That's ideal, man. He said it was as good as it possibly could have been with what we had at our disposal. That's not exactly what he said, but that's kind of what he was saying. Felt so good. And once I saw Theo Von at the basketball game, I was like, man, I gotta get tickets to a show. Ended up being like $100 for a ticket, but we ball. I deserve it. I'm a good guy. Treat yourself, you know? I'm a good guy. Treat yourself, though. So I bought the tickets to the show because I was like, I have to direct this broadcast tomorrow. If it all goes to hell, if everything completely falls apart, if Scott hates us and we never get allowed to do another basketball game again, whatever, man. I gotta go to the Theo Von show and have a laugh and have a good old time. And I got to go to the Theo Von show, but instead of it being like a pick-me-up, it ended up being like a beautiful cap to a long weekend with my mom and sports and a good mix of sports, a big recruit in a high school basketball game where I had to run around and get the setup, a Butler men's game where they just got smashed, but Theo Von was there. I shot him for the Jumbotron, and then I worked the women's game on Sunday. I directed not perfect, but a beautiful broadcast with my friends. It went well. The guy that was in charge of the broadcast thought we did a great job and now believes in us in the future, thinks we can push the envelope a little farther. He's confident in what we have to deliver, and I got to see Theo Von on the Return of the Rat tour. Here's the back, if you care. The Return of the Rat has two little rats, a little yin and yang option. Very good. It's a nice soft shirt. Theo Von was in Indianapolis, and I happened to catch him at the right moment. And after having a rough start to the week and feeling really out of it the last 2 weeks or so, my mom being in town this weekend and spending time with her, I stayed with her both nights in the hotel, and just getting to spend that time with her and being reminded of there are people that are around me that love and support me regardless of what happens, regardless of how I feel, regardless of what I do, regardless of where I'm at, regardless of anything. There are people like my mom and my dad who support me no matter what, wherever I go. It doesn't matter what's happening, they will be there. And I think I just kind of need reminded by that. Of course, I may in this next week dip back down a little bit, maybe come back to earth because I'm still riding the high from the Theo Von show last night, but it was a perfect weekend at the perfect time. I'm truly blessed. I'm truly blessed. My parents are great. The people around me are great. I'm doing a cool thing. I'm working in TV. People think that's cool. If I tell people what I'm doing, they think it's interesting or whatever. I wore shoes in the hotel. The guy in the elevator said he liked my shoes. It was a good weekend. A very good week and a good week. And today, after I got my car fixed, I walked back and then I walked to go pick it up. And then after I got it, I went to the Y, got some shots up. Should put about like 250 shots, give or take today. Felt really good. I've been thinking I need to wake up earlier recently, and I woke up early today just to get my car solved, but it just set me up to just be more productive throughout the day, having those more hours, not waking up at 1 p.m. That would be much more productive with my day and just feel like I have more time to do things. I always found myself like waking up late and then just feeling behind and then staying up late because I didn't get all the hours in the day that I wanted, and it's just a bad mix. So I think when I approach my days like today, I just end up feeling generally better. So I may not be able to get 250 shots up every day, but since I was able to do it now and I know the time to go to the YMCA, so it's not super packed, that's something I want to shoot for in the future. Getting those shots up, getting active, just it's so very beneficial for my mental health and everything else. It's great. But I will say, I do regret not getting that picture with Theo Von, and I do regret not asking to get the clip of me filming him for the Jumbotron. I wish I could have got that exported and just had it on my phone so I could show it to y'all. But with that, I guess I'll say it's good to do these new things, or newer things, I guess, like go play basketball and just be a little more active. But also when there's those what if scenarios of like, I have an opportunity, you gotta go for it. And I know the thing with Theo Von, it's small, and I got to get a video of him, and I got to film for the Jumbotron. I got my little, like my moment with Theo Von, you know, so I'm happy. And I got to go to the show, and it was great. So I'm happy, but you got to go for it when you get those opportunities. That's one of the bigger things I've taken away from this weekend. Fantastic weekend. I'm blessed my mom came and visited me this weekend. It was a perfect weekend for her to be there. I'm so glad she was here and was able to follow me around and see a bunch of public sports and see some high school basketball and see what I do and see me even do a good job. She sent me a good, nice long text after the weekend just showing her appreciation and love for me, and it meant a lot. My dad did a similar thing after we talked on the phone earlier today, and it was just... The last 24 hours, folks, have been a beautiful... What time is it? Let's go 36 hours, because that'll put us back to yesterday morning. The last 36 hours have been a beautiful, beautiful time, and when you act on something and you get something done, it feels good. I'll say that. Also, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. I'm not spreading messages here. I'm just a guy. But thank you for watching this week's episode of my video document on the internet. I don't know. That is all for this week's episode, though. I've been your host, Matthew Stein. You've been fantastic, and I will see you in next week's video, people. Take care. Be safe. Hey, Bear.